Go.
Hello, my name is Jacob Glazner, and this is my video discussion thread on component malfunctions. So, I had a personal flight where the GPS went out on us. It sounds bad, but it's really not that bad because we were in visual flight rules, we were in VFR, we are only 75 nautical miles away from our original airport. We are out at another airport practicing touch and goes, power off 180s, just getting commercial maneuvers down, just really honing in all of my maneuvers before my check ride. Well, while we were out there, we landed, my instructor needed to go to the bathroom, so we stopped at the FBO there. We got out, stretched our legs, started to get a good stretch and really get ready to head back home. And whenever we started up the aircraft, the RAIN, it was saying that the GPS RAIN was out, which usually the RAIN has four satellites connected to it at all times, a fifth one that is on standby in case one of those satellites doesn't pick up, it has a backup. Well, it was completely out. We had no satellites. The GPS was not accurate. It did not work at all. So whenever we started flying again, we were like, okay, where are we? How do we get back home? Like, how do we get there? What are the landmarks along the way? What do we got to do? Now, luckily, I myself have a Stratus that connects to my iPad, and whenever I'm in the aircraft, I'm able to have the Stratus on, have the iPad connected to it, go on to ForeFlight, and I can see my whole entire area. I can see anywhere in the US where planes are, where anything is. It has all the information that is needed. So we were only 75 nautical miles away, so it wasn't too long of a flight, but once we started our way back, we were like, okay, we do have a secondary option. We have our iPads with us. We can get home just by the iPad, but I wanted to make it more real life scenario. Say I forgot my iPad. Well, what do I gotta do? So we were at the FBO. We looked up a route to get us back, and we looked up little markers along our route to find landmarks that we can look out the wing and see the landmark at the ground and say, okay, we're here. How much further do we have to go? So while we were flying, we just used dead reckoning, pilotage, really all private-based knowledge that you have to do in order to get your private license. So we used dead reckoning, pilotage, and we just tracked our way back. I turned off my Stratus so that I had no current GPS tracking on the Stratus. I only had the Stratus there for traffic advisories, just so that I know if traffic was coming around me, or my instructor was at least looking at it to make sure that we didn't have oncoming traffic in our route to get back home. So we just kept on flying, and eventually we get about 20 nautical miles away, and I was like, okay, there's the highway. I know the highway is 20 nautical miles away. I got about 5 minutes, and I got to start calling ATC and letting them know, hey, I'm 15 miles to the northwest, we're coming in for a full stop. So even though GPS went out, I've always trained for the worst case scenario. I always look, say, oh, Stratus went out, oh, the iPad died, I have no GPS, I don't know where I am. I always plan ahead. I always look at my route, I always look at airports around just in case. Let's say the engine decided to start bogging down and started running rough. I knew that there was an airport 2 nautical miles away. The GPS would have shown me, oh, the nearest airport is 2 nautical miles away, but since we didn't have GPS, I just had to know that it was there. Or, I mean, you're just flying and all of a sudden you can look down out of the aircraft and say, oh, okay, there's an airport 5 miles away. It's right there. It's got a big old tower sitting right there. I can see the runway from here. But even though GPS did go out, I've never really, GPS is nice. You always want to have GPS, especially if IFR conditions, you need GPS. But VFR situations, I always like to maneuver around having GPS. I like to always have a secondary plan, and always like to what's the word? go through it and know what I'm doing. And that's how every pilot should be. They really need to always have a backup plan in case something does go wrong. Thank you very much.